I just really want to encourage you that this is your year. This is the time ahead that you've got, and I want to encourage you to make the most of it and to enjoy it. And a few of us as tutors, we sort of put together some ideas and stuff that might help you and spur you on this year to just get the most out of it. It's important to be asking ourselves, I've got the whole rest of the year ahead of me. What do I want to do with this time? What do I want to do with this next term? Do I want to keep things the same as they were at this time last year, or do I want to approach things differently? And for that, it's important for us to remember that, you are not your last report card. You are not, your sporting abilities, or you are not what people on Facebook say about you. You are you. And when we keep that in mind, life's a whole lot easier. So I hope you enjoy hearing some input from our tutors who, they're behind you. They're so behind you. They're for you and they're behind you, and they just want to see you succeed. And yeah, made this especially for you.
I feel proud of myself when I look at all these people around me, and I think about how their lives have been changed because of maybe even very tiny and very insignificant things that I might have done. And I see how they've affected other people. When you, for example, one time I was giving a talk about something, and someone else randomly came and told me the same facts that I told someone else, and it turned out that the person I told them, even though that I had no idea this happened, and that they were so enthusiastic about something which I never even knew I had an influence on them about. Well, to be honest, I think if we're all honest, I think we all have values that we don't live up to, and that no one in this world can say that they've absolutely done everything that they've wanted to do or lived up to their standards, and that's just a part of life. But the important thing isn't the fact that we haven't lived up to our values, it's the fact that once we realize we haven't lived up to our values, it's what we decide to do about that. And what we decide to do about that is realize what we're doing if we're going down the wrong track, and then we admit that to ourselves and we try as hard as we can to make a change in whatever that way it might be. Nothing to be ashamed of. We ask for help if we need it, and we encourage others if we see others need encouragement as well. But yeah, definitely nothing to be ashamed of, I think. But the last thing is, as hard as you can and as hard as it might be, make sure that you don't change who you are or the values you hold most just because a lot of people are, because the majority of the time, I think what I've seen is that when people try to change who they are or change the values they hold just because other people are, they end up regretting it. But in a lot of ways that could be a good thing because it teaches them not to do that again.
I love finding out new stuff about something that I know nothing about, and to me, even if I just ask a bunch of questions, I never sort of mind doing that. It makes me really excited. So I love meeting people who know lots of stuff about something I don't know, and just kind of quizzing them. That's kind of fun. Actually, when I first came to uni, I'd done well in year 11 and 12 and got a good score and stuff, and then I left and moved away from home, and in one of my subjects I just didn't do as well as I thought I had, and it was a big change to go from it being pretty easy and being pretty straightforward to then being oh, I have to really work hard at this, but that was okay. I got through it. It was first year, it was fine, and you kind of realize that each time that happens you think you're going well, and then something happens that's not as good. It's okay, it'll change if you just keep having a crack. Because if you get stuck doing the one thing, or you just keep doing the same thing, you might not find out about something else that might become your new passion that you absolutely love. So I think it's really fine to sort of change what you think you might want to do or something like that, because you might just discover something amazing that really suits you.
If I don't say no to some things, my goals aren't going to happen, or other people's goals. And for me, often saying no can be a philosophical thing. It's about what I think is fair and the direction that I want the world to go in. And that tends to be most of the time when I say no to things. My parents, because they're very supportive. So I know that if I want to talk to them about something, they're very open to it. So I think they have created that sort of environment has made that easy for me to be able to approach them with something if I want to say no.
When I was at school, I really loved reading, so I loved doing English, but math was, I'll be honest, was a bit of a struggle. Also because I sort of felt like I was okay at English and reading, and I really liked doing that. A few times I was why can't I just sort of get this? But I was lucky that I just kind of kept going, and I had a couple of really cool teachers who were super nice to me, and you get through that in the end and it's all okay. I can do math now, so just keep going.
If your values are different from your parents, I think it's important to still be respectful of your parents. It doesn't mean that you have to believe the same things that they do or have the same values as them, but to still respect them as your parents, listen to them, and be able to share what you think as well, in a gentle way.
So I think the process of finding out where your values are is really important, and it's not necessarily easy to do in a lot of situations. So I think a lot of people have these kind of core beliefs and things they believe in, so honesty and being like nice to other people and doing to them as you'd want them to do to you as well. But I think to truly find out like how some of the more grey kind of areas apply, you have to sometimes almost take risks in situations where you're not necessarily going to hurt other people, but you'll feel within yourself whether you're going down the right track or not. So in a sense, there's an element of trial and error to a lot of things, but sticking true to your own core morals and things like that. So using that as the framework that kind of guides your decisions when you kind of figure out the harder, more complicated issues. So I think there are a lot of situations that crop up in life where the things that you might be doing, your behaviours, might not necessarily line up with your actions. And that can cause a lot of stress or kind of sort of difficulty within yourself. And I think in those situations, it's important to sit down and think about why you're uncomfortable. So whether maybe you have a belief that's not right or whether your actions aren't right, and to really sit down and go through that and figuring out sort of what type of person you want to be in the future and what you want to hold on to. So trying to figure out sort of how you're going to reconcile your behaviours and your actions to make yourself sort of the best, maybe most honest, most caring person that you can be.
Setting goals, to be honest, freaks me out because I often love to achieve and get things done, and I love to have my dreams be met, and sometimes I get afraid that I'm not going to get there. So when I really think about it then, about why I want to do something, that inspires me to push through that hard stuff of planning and preparing, and so I can get to that end point that I want to. A goal that I fail at, every day I fail at stuff. I wake up in the morning thinking this is what I want to do with my day, and I get to the end of the day, and because of life it doesn't work out like that. And there's times I've made myself wrong for it, there's times others have made me wrong for it, but you know, the sun gets up the next day and I've got to do it all again. So I just choose to let it go and give it my best the next day. The constant battle everyone has is living with guilt when you haven't lived up to your own expectations or your own values, and everyone does it. I reckon even old people still deal with it. The trick is, I think as you get older you realise it happens and you just get over it faster, perhaps.